Okay, so let's be honest here for a second. If you're in the driver's seat at a dealership, whether you're running the show or heading up marketing, you're dealing with like a constant wave of pressure, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about, nailing those numbers this month.
Right.
It's about finding a way to create real, solid, long-term growth.
Yeah.
Growth that actually lasts. So what we're going to dig into today is how do you actually engineer that kind of success? How do you make it happen in today's market? Things move so fast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about going beyond those, the short-term wins and losses and actually building a system that just naturally creates its own momentum, just keeps things moving forward.
And that is exactly what this deep dive is all about. We're going to be pulling out some super valuable insights today. Insights that you can actually use, like right in the thick of things in automotive retail. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Think of it like this. A laser-focused look at the 30-day AI protocol transformation system, which, by the way, is the most comprehensive AI system that's been made for car dealerships specifically.
Uh-huh.
So within that protocol today, we're zeroing in on day 26, which is all about building what we call a growth engine.
Right.
We'll be breaking down the core principles, how to create a system that just runs, that uses AI to drive sustainable growth. Repeatable processes. That's the key.
Absolutely. And I know, when you hear AI, sometimes it's like, oh, no more tech jargon, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what this is about. Our goal here is to give you a framework that's crystal clear, something you can really grasp. And hopefully you'll have those aha moments where you're like, oh, okay, now I see how AI can actually work for me in my dealership, specifically through the 30-day protocol. We're aiming for those aha moments.
We want you to be able to walk away and use this.
Exactly.
So a good way to understand all of this is to think of it like building a high-performance engine, like, for a race car or something.
Right.
You wouldn't just slap on the newest gadgets and hope for the best.
Yeah. Oh, no way. You got to be way more strategic than that.
You'd carefully pick each part, right? Make sure they all work together, perfectly to get the most power and efficiency.
You got it.
So that's the mindset we need to have when we're building a growth engine for a dealership using the AI protocol. It's not about chasing every shiny new AI tool that pops up. It's about designing a system where each AI process is playing a strategic role, working together to drive consistent growth that just keeps building over time.
That's it. You hit the nail on the head. It's about that long game.
So let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. The protocol talks about building a solid foundation block for this growth engine. What does that really look like for a dealership? One that's getting into AI.
Well, just like a powerful engine needs a strong base to handle all that horsepower, your AI growth engine, right, needs a core set of systems that can scale up and adapt as you grow. And, you're thinking about a dealership, the 30-day protocol often suggests you start with the parts of your business that are customer-facing, because that's where you get the richest data.
And the example in the protocol specifically mentions focusing on marketing systems first.
Right.
Makes sense. So most dealerships are already running all sorts of marketing campaigns. So what's the difference here? What changes when we're talking about the AI protocol?
It's all about the intention, right? And the architecture. It's not just blasting out messages and hoping they stick, like spraying and praying. The protocol is all about building something called a self-learning marketing architecture.
A self-learning marketing architecture. That sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty cool when you see it in action.
So it's not just about getting those immediate leads through the door.
You got it. Every single marketing push you do, every campaign is designed to gather data that the AI can use to make future campaigns even better. The AI is not just looking at, clicks or views. It's digging into the why. Why did this work? What message resonated? Which channels brought in the best leads? Which audience segments responded? It's like building intelligence into the very DNA of your marketing,
That makes a lot of sense. And the protocol actually talks about some pretty impressive results, just from a few campaigns using this approach.
Yeah, and it's not just about the numbers going up, it's how they go up. Like one dealership that was starting to use the 30-day protocol saw their first AI campaign get about 20% better results compared to their old ways. Lead quality and conversion, way better. But here's the thing, because the AI was constantly learning and tweaking the strategy, the second campaign jumped to a 40% improvement. And get this, the third one, a 60% improvement. That's huge. It's like, it's not just about adding a little bit each time. It's like the system is learning and getting smarter with every single campaign.
That's a big jump. 60% is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But the growth engine in the protocol It doesn't just rely on marketing, right?
Nope, it's much bigger than that.
It says we should apply this learning approach across the entire dealership.
Exactly. The whole point of the AI protocol is that the principles apply everywhere. Think about your sales process. Instead of just tracking how many cars you're selling, the protocol says you should use AI to understand, like, what's really driving those sales? What are the interactions that make a difference? What questions or concerns do customers always have? What closing techniques work best with different buyers? And the AI can actually identify those different buyer types for you.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, so then if we follow that same idea, could the service department also become like a learning center for the dealership?
That's exactly right. The service department can be a gold mine of information.
Focusing on, customer communications. Yeah, exactly. Instead of just thinking about service as, fixing cars and sending them on their way, the protocol helps you turn those interactions into data points. What kind of communication really clicks with service customers? What makes them schedule appointments? What keeps them coming back? It's about turning those wrench-turning visits into solid customer relationships, and the data can show you how.
So it's not just about each department doing its own thing, right?
Nope.
It's about seeing the whole dealership as like this network, right?
That's it.
A network of learning systems all connected.
That's the heart of the engine analogy in the 30-day AI protocol. Just like, in a real engine, you've got all these different parts that work together: fuel, ignition, exhaust. Everything's got to be synced up perfectly to get that horsepower. And it's the same in your dealership. You've got marketing, sales, service, finance, all these different departments. And they all need to be talking to each other, sharing information, And AI helps make that happen. Each piece makes the others stronger when they're all part of that central learning system.
Makes sense. And there's an example in the protocol about a dealer who really understood the power of their customer database. They were using AI, right?
Yeah, and what they figured out, and this is a big part of the 30-day protocol, is that your customer database, it's not just a list of old transactions,
Right.
It's like this living, breathing thing, A
Right.
learning hub that gets smarter with every single interaction you have with a customer. Every car you sell adds to your understanding of who your perfect customer is. Every service visit tells you more about how people use their cars, what their needs are. It's constantly evolving.
So you're saying every little touch point with a customer, even if it seems small, is a chance for the AI systems to learn.
Exactly. That's where the magic of the 30-day protocol really comes in. It's about taking all those insights, all that knowledge, and plugging it back into your strategies, especially your marketing. The dealer in the example, they got amazing results because they used AI to really understand the customers. Who they are, what they buy, their service history, what they do online. And they use all of that to create super targeted ads. They knew what message would resonate, when to send it, and to whom. They were way ahead of the game.
And the results they got, they were pretty impressive, right? Like the protocol lays out some pretty significant improvements.
Oh, yeah, they crushed it because they were using AI to really get to know their customers. They were connecting with them in a way that felt personal and actually worked. And their cost per lead went down, their sales conversions went way up, and they saw a big boost in customer loyalty. It's like a positive feedback loop. You use data to make better decisions, then those decisions give you even more data to learn from, and it just keeps getting better.
Okay, so we've got this foundation of interconnected learning systems, all powered by AI. And now the 30-day protocol talks about adding a turbocharger, creating this self-building pressure within the system. What does that look like in a dealership? One that's really pushing for growth.
Think of it as creating a cycle where every win you get just makes the system even better. It's like a snowball effect. Every part of your dealership, if you follow the protocol, should not only be doing its job, but also feeding information back into the system. Information that makes everything else run smoother and faster. It's about creating this constant upward momentum.
And the protocol actually uses an example of how dealerships can change the way they handle incoming calls.
Yeah, a lot of dealerships are already monitoring calls, for quality control and stuff.
Right.
But this is about taking it to a whole other level with AI. The 30-day framework is all about strategy.
Okay, so how is it different?
Instead of just listening for mistakes or making sure people are sticking to the script, the AI protocol says you should be using AI to find the patterns that lead to good outcomes. What are the phrases, the approaches that really hook customers? What are the objections that always come up? And what are the best ways to handle them? Every conversation, every good conversation becomes a learning opportunity for the whole dealership.
So it's not just about finding what went wrong. It's about finding what went really well and figuring out why.
You got it. And here's the best part. Those insights, they don't just disappear into a report somewhere.
Right.
The protocol says you feed them right back into your training program so everyone on your team learns what really works, what really connects with customers.
And then, because this is the AI protocol, those learnings from the phone calls get applied everywhere else, right?
Exactly. Like, let's say you find out from those calls that a certain phrase or approach really works well. You can take that and use it in your emails and your social media strategy, even in how you target your ads. It's all about connecting the dots. And that's where the AI really shines because it can see those connections that we might miss. And that's what creates that compound acceleration, that extra boost.
It really is like a turbocharger. The better one part performs, the better the whole engine runs.
Exactly. The 30-day AI protocol is all about building those feedback loops throughout your dealership. Like, there's this example where they analyzed what made the best sales presentations so successful, and they used that to actually improve their marketing messages, which then brought in better leads, which led to even better sales conversations. It's like this upward spiral, Everything feeds into everything else.
And the protocol even talks about the dealership becoming like a factory of intelligence. That's a pretty powerful image.
It is, right. The cool thing about the 30-day protocol is that it shows you how every department can be a source of valuable information. And that information can help the whole dealership grow. Like, think about your service department. It's not just about fixing cars anymore. It's about gathering intel. What are customers saying? What are their preferences? What kind of service patterns are you seeing? And all of that can feed back into your marketing, your inventory decisions, even your sales presentations.
So even something as routine as an oil change, it's contributing to this growth engine.
Absolutely. Every single interaction, no matter where it happens in the dealership, is a data point that the AI can learn from. It makes your whole operation smarter, more efficient, and ultimately more successful. And one of the best examples of this is how the protocol talks about transforming a BDC, the Business Development Center.
Right.
A lot of people just think of the BDC as the appointment setting crew, but the protocol shows you how to turn it into a real intelligence powerhouse.
Okay, so how do they do that?
Well, you use AI to analyze those BDC conversations, really dig deep. What words are really connecting with different types of customers? What objections are they hitting? What's the best time to follow up? And what should they say? The BDC goes from just booking appointments to understanding how customers engage, right from the start.
And all of that feeds back into training, scripts, even your marketing messages.
Exactly. It all works together. And dealerships that are doing this, they're seeing amazing results. Their appointment show rates are going up because they know when and how to confirm those appointments. They're closing more deals because the salespeople are ready for those common objections that the BDC has flagged. And customers are happier because the dealership is being proactive, anticipating their needs. It's a win-win-win.
So for someone listening right now who's like, okay, I'm ready to build my AI growth engine, where do they start? The protocol talks about it like a master mechanic putting together a high-performance motor.
That's a great analogy. The key is to make sure that every piece you add fits perfectly with what's already there. And a good place to start, and day 2 of the protocol actually lays this out, is with your intake system.
Okay. What's that?
It's how you attract and capture those initial opportunities, how you get people interested in your dealership. Just like an engine needs a good intake to get the most power, your lead generation systems, they set the stage for how much your dealership can grow.
So it's not just about being on all the channels, like having a website, social media, running ads.
It's about more than that. The AI protocol is all about building learning bridges between those channels. Instead of each one doing its own thing, they all work together, Like, let's say you see that people are really engaging with your service content on Facebook. That can tell you what to talk about during follow-up calls, what to put in your emails, how to adjust your social media strategy. It's all connected. You're creating one smooth, learning-driven journey for your customers.
So you're bringing in better leads and learning valuable lessons right from the start.
That's right. And then the next big piece of the puzzle, according to the 30-day protocol, is the combustion chamber. That's where you turn those leads into sales.
Okay, so how did that work?
It's where you take all that potential energy from your lead generation and turn it into real horsepower for your dealership. And the key here, the AI protocol is big on this, is that every step in your sales process should be doing 2 things. 1, it should be moving the deal forward. And 2, it should be gathering information that can make future sales even better. It's about constantly learning and improving.
So the CRM system, the protocol says it should be way more than just a place to track contacts and deals, right?
Oh, yeah, it becomes a learning machine. The AI protocol turns your CRM into this dynamic system that gets smarter with every interaction. Like your follow-up process, it should be analyzing what works best with different types of customers, and the AI can help you figure out those customer types. And your sales presentations, they should be designed to capture those golden nuggets of information. What are buyers really looking for? What are their concerns? All of that feeds back into the system, making it better and better.
So the AI is like this silent partner, right?
Exactly. Always learning, always improving.
And to make sure all this learning actually translates into real growth for the dealership, the 30-day protocol talks about the power delivery system.
Yeah, that's the final piece of the engine. It's all about creating systems that put those insights into action. When the AI spots a pattern, something that works really well, like a great marketing message or a killer sales technique, that information shouldn't just sit there. It should be built into your processes, your training, your communication. The protocol talks about this dealership where every time they made a sale, the AI would automatically analyze everything. Where did that customer come from? What messages did they respond to? What closed the deal? And then all that information would be used to update their marketing playbooks, their sales training, even their language in future campaigns.
So it's like this constant cycle of improvement, always learning, always adapting.
That's it. And the AI, the 30-day protocol, it's the guiding force. It leads to those compounding effects that can transform a dealership. Your marketing gets more precise because it's learning from every sale. Your salespeople get better because they're learning from every presentation. Your service department gets more profitable because it's learning from every interaction. Every win makes the next win more likely. It's pretty incredible when you see it in action.
So it's not just about working harder, it's about working smarter. Building these intelligent systems.
That's the key takeaway for anyone in the car business today. We're in the age of AI now. Sustainable growth, it's not about grinding it out anymore. It's about building systems that learn and adapt, systems that get better over time. And the 30-day AI protocol, it's a roadmap for how to do that.
So just to sum it up for everyone, the big idea here is the power of building a growth engine for your dealership. A system that learns, that uses AI to drive consistent and compounding success. And every part of your dealership, every customer interaction, it all plays a role. It's all fuel for the engine.
That's it. And as you're thinking about your own dealership, I want you to really think about your intake. How are you attracting opportunities? Are those channels connected? And what about your combustion chamber? Are your sales processes designed to learn and improve? And lastly, your power delivery system. How well are you turning those insights into real advantages?
It's a framework you can start using today.
Absolutely.
And here's one last thought to leave you with. As you look at your dealership, where could you implement an AI-powered learning loop? Following the principles of the 30-day protocol, where could you make a small change, a strategic change guided by AI that could really kickstart that growth, that self-building momentum we've been talking about? Think about it. Where could you make the biggest impact in the next 30 days?
Yeah, that's a great question to ponder.
Food for thought, right?
Absolutely. It all starts at that first step.
All right, well, that wraps up our deep dive for today.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure. Until next time, keep those engines running.
And keep learning.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.
See you then.
Bye for now.